Welcome back to the Bluechip Breakdown, Vols fans. I'm your host, Bull. In today's video, we're going to be covering all the news with Tennessee football. We're making that transition from 2023 to 2024. We've got players going into the NFL draft. We'll cover everything to do with that in some later videos. But obviously, we just had the All-Star Game. We've got some more All-Star Games coming up for the 2024 class. We've got some transfer portal news. We've got some big announcements coming up in the 2025 class that could favor our Volunteers as well. So we'll get into all of that in this video. Let's start off with the All-Star Games. All right, so the Under Armour All-Star Game was yesterday, and we had 5 players participating in this game. Most of them were on Team Fire, and Team Fire got blown out. It's not, it's not our guys' fault, honestly speaking. What we had on offense was Peyton Lewis and Mike Matthews, and just we didn't have very good quarterback play, okay, on Team Fire, and then the offensive line was just getting whipped all day. So, they weren't really able to showcase much of their skills, much of their talents, but Mike Matthews looked good running his routes. He was getting open, poorly thrown passes, and again, quarterbacks getting sacked, not really having the time to get the football to him, but he does look the part out there. You can tell that he's got the size, got the length. Again, he runs really, really crisp route. So I'm not worried about him at all. And then Peyton Lewis, I think that he looked good running the football. Again, didn't have a whole lot of great blocking, but he did find those creases, got his foot in the dirt. He's a physical running back. He looks good out there physically. And I am looking forward to him as well. On defense, we had Caleb Beasley, who didn't get very many opportunities to get passes thrown his way from what I saw just off of first glance, because Team Ice was just very, very dominant. So he didn't really get a whole lot of plays, a whole lot of balls thrown his way. But whenever I did see him in coverage, he looked like he was doing a good job in coverage. And then Jordan Ross was playing for Team Fire as well, and he looked great. So, coming up, setting those edges looked really good. Also was able to get some good pressure on the quarterbacks. Got a sack right there at the end. He's a guy that I think could come in as a true freshman and get a lot of rotation. He looks a lot like James Pierce. They're both 6'5", okay? Jordan Ross is just a little bit lighter, okay? I think he's probably at about 230, maybe 235, but he's close. So he could get up to about 245, maybe 250 by the start of the season. And he's got a great burst off of the football, and he's got some really long arms. So he should be one that could be, another really dynamic playmaker for the defense in 2024. Now, Edris Farouk played on the Ice team, and I didn't see a whole lot out of him. Okay, they had several pick sixes, and then they also were getting a tremendous pass rush. So wasn't a whole lot of balls really thrown, and it seems like most of the times that they were thrown, it was either like an interception, pick six, fumble, something like that happened, or it was just a terribly thrown football. So we'll see how he does, obviously, once he gets on campus in the spring. And then we've got another All-Star game coming up on Saturday at 1 p.m. That is the All-American Bowl. It's going to be on NBC. The only player that I know of that we have playing in that game is Bennett Warren. That is the highest rated offensive lineman in the 2024 class. He's an offensive tackle. Heard some good things about him so far in practice. He's a big guy, 6'8", about 335 pounds. And a lot of people are already raving about his talents. They're saying that he looks dominant out there. So we all know that we are going to need some help at offensive tackle. We're definitely going to need some depth. He could be a guy who could push to, maybe get some playing time potentially if somebody goes down or something like that. But that is pretty much it for the All-Star games. Now, we also have some big news in the form of a new offer coming out with Colin Brazzell, who is Chris Brazzell's younger brother in the class of 2024. He played wide receiver in high school. He was a 3-star, okay, 6'2", 275 pounds. But he is projected to be playing corner for us. So he's got good size. I haven't seen his film yet, but, obviously we kind of figured coming into this thing, with Chris, that his brother could have been part of that package deal. So I'm all for it. You got to do what you got to do. I do, hope that he can come in and help this football team out. He wasn't very highly touted coming out of high school, but neither was his older brother. So could be another situation where he kind of grows into his frame some, and hey, he could end up playing wide receiver for us, right? So he's at 6'2", and Chris was 6'3" coming out of high school. Now he's 6'5". Maybe his younger brother hits that same type of a growth spurt, and maybe he'll fill out just a little bit more, and he could be a really big piece for us moving forward. George Mcintyre is set to announce, it sounds like, maybe in the next couple of weeks, okay? And, he's pretty much said that he's down to 2 schools. He does have 3 listed, as his finalists, and that's LSU, obviously us, and then Alabama. But he did say that he's really narrowed it down to two schools. A lot of people think that it's between us and Alabama. Austin Price, who's definitely in the know, consistently has said that Tennessee is in really good shape for George Mcintyre. Again, he is the 5-star quarterback in the class of 2025. He's like 6'6", about 200 pounds. Very similar to Nico, maybe not as mobile, but coming out of the state of Tennessee, being the #1 player in Tennessee in 2025, it will be huge to be able to lock him up and, have a good quarterback battle moving forward for Tennessee, over the next few seasons. All right, now let's get into that transfer portal. It has been some rumors out there that Tennessee could potentially lose some players in the transfer portal before that window closes. And how it works is you have 5 days after your bowl game, if you do participate in the bowl game, to announce that you will be transferring. And, I think it takes up to 48 hours once the paperwork is filed with your school for it to hit actually into the portal. So if there is going to be someone leaving, we should be hearing about that, I would say, at least by today, because we played our game on Monday. So I don't know if it's 5 business days, if they have until, Saturday, or how that works, or if it's until tomorrow, which is Friday. I don't know, but we should for sure be hearing some rumblings if some guys have submitted some paperwork. Now, some of the players that have been rumored to, potentially be jumping back into the portal would be George Mcintyre. Okay, he was the offensive tackle, or, he is the offensive tackle for our team this season, and he didn't look great playing it in that bowl game. He is kind of banged up, but, there are some rumors that he could enter in. And then I guess, you would have to kind of look at that wide receiver room. Dante Thornton, Caleb Webb, maybe even Chaz Nimrod, maybe Nathan Leacock, Nate Spillman. Maybe those guys might consider transferring out, because we've got Chris Brazzell coming in. We know that Brew McCoy is coming back. And then Squirrel White pretty much has that slot position locked down. Obviously, we've got Mike Matthews, we've got Braylon Staley, we've got Boo Carter also coming on campus. So maybe some of these guys will try to hit that portal. We'll keep a very close eye out on that. And then in that secondary, do any of those younger guys that haven't really got to play much, especially someone like Jordan Matthews, who didn't play, I don't think, nearly enough in the Citrus Bowl, does he try to also jump into that portal and test the waters? The thing about it, guys, is that they could jump into the portal in that spring window, but if they do that, then they can't transfer to an SEC school. So, if we make it out of this first window unscathed with nobody entering in, we still have to keep a close eye out in that spring window. So, again, a whole lot of things that are fluid whenever it comes to that. Now, whenever you talk about some of the players that Tennessee has been targeting, a guy like A.J. Harris, who we said Tennessee kind of backed off of, because we were more interested in a guy like Jalen McMurray, who is the cornerback from Temple, and then we'll get to him in just a second. But A.J. Harris did commit to Kentucky, so interesting there. I'm not quite sure why players are going there. But A.J. Harris, who was a 5-star coming out of high school, very highly touted, went to UGA, didn't really play much, if at all. Why is he going to a school like Kentucky? Is it all about the money, or is he just maybe not as good of a player as what he was projected to be? Could be some truth to all of that, but for whatever reason, Tennessee is favoring Jalen McMurray a lot more. Now, I did get a chance to see more of his film. He plays the nickelback, which is star for us. He looks really good. I mean, he's exactly what you want. His coverage is beautiful. His technique fundamentals is just great. Okay, he's very physical also at the point of contact. He just needs to gain some weight. So he's listed at 6 feet, 175 pounds. He would have to, I think, get up to, 185, maybe like bare minimum, to be able to play corner or star for us. I think if you're playing star, you would really want to be closer to 200 pounds, about 190, maybe 195. But he does have, good length. And, I think that he could be a very good piece for Tennessee. He's going to be on campus this weekend visiting us. So hopefully things go well there. Not quite sure why we're targeting so many players in that secondary, because we do, again, have so many young guys that haven't seen the field too much, that we're not really throwing out there as much. So that's interesting to me. But hopefully we can retain everyone. It seems like we're just trying to build up enough depth to make it through a whole season, because again, injuries do happen. We saw it last year, and once we had a guy like Haddon go down, there was a really big drop off in the level of play from everyone else. So next guy that I want to talk about is going to be Lance Hurd. That's the offensive tackle from LSU, 6'6", 340 pounds. He was a 5-star in the 2023 class. Sounds like he is looking for a school where he can get some better playing time. So right now, there are 2 tackles starting over him at LSU, okay? And they're both younger guys. I believe that they're both sophomores. So he wants to get an opportunity to play. Sounds like right now, a lot of people are saying that, maybe Ole Miss has already told him, hey, if you come here, then, you're going to be able to play. That's the tampering stuff that everyone keeps talking about. So obviously Tennessee is going to make a run at Lance, and we definitely should, because again, the offensive line just did not look great in that Citrus Bowl. They didn't look great towards the end of the season. And, if somebody gets hurt, you don't want to see that gigantic drop off, because we're trying to win a national championship this season. We want to surround Nico with the best talent that we possibly can. So we'll keep a very close eye out on Lance Heard. All right, and the last guy that I want to talk about today is another offensive lineman from the University of Kansas in Ahmaj Adams-Reed. 6'5", 330 pounds. He played tackle and he played guard for Kansas last season. Now, he was a 3-star coming out in the 2019 class, but he's listed on ESPN as a sophomore. So don't really know how that's working out. Sounds like he's an older guy. I haven't seen his film yet, but P watched it and he loves him. He said that we absolutely need to kick the tires on him, and we need to find a way to bring him on campus and close the deal. So obviously with him playing guard and tackle, one of those swing guys, would love to see if maybe he could plug into that left guard spot, because we know that we need an upgrade there if Gerald Mincey does decide to stay, or even if maybe somebody can step up and be a little bit of a better option at that right tackle position, then, maybe, Gerald Mincey can move somewhere else on that offensive line. And, obviously with this guy right here in Adams-Reed being such a versatile player, maybe he could move around as well. But it gives you a lot more depth, and he's a guy that it sounds like from what P is saying could be a plug-and-play guy for Tennessee. Another quick note just to add to this is that Aiden Bussell has been getting some snaps at tackle. Now, Aiden Bussell was from the 2023 class, and I told y'all that I absolutely loved his film. Felt like he could play guard, tackle, center, wherever you need him to. And with him getting some reps right there at tackle, it does sound like the staff has identified that we need some more depth right there. Obviously, the young guys, we haven't seen much of them on campus, but it's going to be a whole lot of battles going on in the, in that spring practice window. So going to be interesting, man. I'm definitely looking forward to it. As always, man, we're going to keep y'all up to date with all the news as it comes out, and thank y'all so much for tuning in. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.